It's your half of the show right now, right?
Great plan. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I'm not ready for mine. So I'll be preparing slightly for mine as you...
Don't worry about it.
As you ramble on about...
Don't worry about it.
Complete nonsense.
Don't even worry about it.
I'm worried.
Okay. We should now be live to
Okay.
YouTube. So hello, YouTube, and hello, Twitch, and hello to anyone who is watching our live show.
Hi, everyone.
It's awesome hardware. We usually do it every Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we're back on track this week. This is episode number 107, and we've had sort of the past month has been a bit erratic with our live streaming schedule, so sorry about that for those of you who maybe tried to show up and we weren't live when we were supposed to be. But we're back now from Computex. Things should be back to normal and back on schedule for the coming weeks. We don't have any other plans to miss anything. So thanks for sticking with us. Speaking of which, we're back from Computex. Kyle and I have both been traveling to
Faraway lands.
East Asia, where the time is the future, and we have now traveled back, and therefore we are both jet lagged. We happened to do the show right at the point in the day when jet lag is sucking the worst. So this could all be a dream.
Yeah.
I think it's going well though. I'm happy because when I wake up and we actually do the live show, I think things are going to go great because this dream is just swimmingly. It's going swimmingly.
Feels more like a nightmare.
Well, that's because you're not prepared, Kyle.
No, it's because we haven't drank the beer yet.
You should be prepared.
We can turn it into a nice dream.
Yes. We're still going to drink some beer as we usually do. And we're still going to at least attempt to go over some of the tech news that's been happening because there's a fair amount to discuss. So thanks for being here and cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. The big ass jug.
Yeah, and this is courtesy of one of our fans. You know who you are. Thank you, sir. Not going to say your name on stream because I forgot it.
It's very mysterious. Really?
I forget the name. I read the letter and everything, and I was like, oh, I said his name. You can find it like in the stream that we open this in, or that we talk about it.
You'd have to go back and look at the stream to verify.
That's why I say, you know,
the information does exist.
It's the guy who's from Fargo, ND, New Denmark. That's what that is, right?
What's that? I thought it was Maryland. Not Maryland.
Maryland.
That's what MD is. Oh, this is going to be a good show. I can feel it. It also
Welcome to Frantic Edition.
It also might be slightly shorter show than usual, but it also might be a bit of a shit show.
Yep.
I'm already
bringing up the code. Bringing up the source code for the
everything's going great.
pages. All
right. If you're not impressed already, help support us by buying stuff at our stores. Here's my store, paulsoftware.net. I have shirts and mugs and pint glasses. They're all very high quality. And if you buy during the show, we'll give you a shout out at the end of the show. Assuming we remember today. I think we will. We're pretty up with that.
Sure.
Kyle's store is bitwit.tech/store. He also has various paraphernalia in the accoutrements category.
Accoutrements?
Yeah, accoutrements.
That sounds funny.
Accoutrements.
You said cooter.
All right. So for my half of the show, basically I got a big block of news, some tech news, and then we're going to do some Q&A. That's all.
That sounds great.
That is. So let's just dive straight into it. Has anyone been trying to purchase a glass of beer? I mean, could I buy a glass of beer?
Oh, yeah. From me?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
From the folks over at New Denmark?
I should finish this.
Yes. So this is, again, from North Dakota. Fargo, North Dakota is the Fargo Brewing Company, established in 2010.
Oh.
And I believe this is the pale ale that he sent over. No, this was, I think, the blonde.
The blonde?
The pale ale got lost in the mail.
Yeah, one of them was destroyed.
It was completely leaked. That's why his letter was blurry, and I could hardly read it.
I thought you gouged your finger.
It's probably a much easier way to open this than wire cutters. But
wire cutters.
It was the nearest tool that I had on hand. So it's effective. Agree? Okay.
So while Kyle pours us out some of that, let's discuss the relative scarcity right now for anyone who's trying to buy a Radeon graphics card. Particularly a Polaris-based Radeon graphics card. They're just hard to find. They're sold out everywhere. And where you can find them in stock, they're grossly overpriced.
Wait, a Polaris card?
Yeah.
What?
570s, Radeon RX 570s, and 580s.
They're hard to find?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Wait, say it one more time so I can make sure.
They're difficult to find.
What?
Let's go to Newegg.
Since when? I didn't hear about this.
Since now, Kyle.
Why?
Why aren't you familiar with this proceedings?
Because I've been busy covering technology in a different country that I forgot about the rest of the technology that was announced elsewhere.
Man, Newegg's site is just... Alright, here's RX 570s at Newegg.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
I hope this hasn't gone bad.
Again.
You don't think it would, right?
Beer doesn't go bad.
It's in the growler. Well, it can go stale.
Well, it can.
Ooh. That's very refreshing.
Yeah.
It's very, like, crisp and light. It's very light, but not like a Bud Light light.
Yeah.
It's like a good light.
I feel like I could pound that all day.
Fargo light.
Alright. Back to the matter at hand. Look at all these missing RX 570s. See? They're just on auto notify.
Wow.
Even all of these combos are also on auto notify.
So what you're saying is we should take this opportunity to sell our current 570s that we own for ridiculously high prices.
Yeah, if you got any of those hanging around,
got it.
Toss them up on eBay, because right now the cryptocurrency miners apparently are gobbling them up. A resurgence in cryptocurrency mining is what is causing this. For any of you guys who just want to build a damn gaming PC, and was like, I'm going to get a 580, and now they're all gone. This same sort of thing happened towards the end of 2013, if you guys were around at that time. Lots of AMD graphics cards snapped up by Bitcoin and Litecoin miners at that time, causing a similar shortage as well as price spikes where they were available, particularly on reseller sites like eBay. That kind of faded out because ASICs became more available, and ASIC is an application-specific integrated circuit. So those were basically chips that were designed specifically for Bitcoin mining and Litecoin mining. Whereas when you're mining on a GPU, you're using GPU, general purpose GPU software, which is not as efficient as a chip that's designed specifically for it. So ASICs became a thing. The amount of power required for GPU mining started to die out, and this didn't happen. But there's been a resurgence in newer hashing algorithms like Ethereum's Dagger Hashimoto or Zcash's Equihash that has made GPU mining profitable once again. There's also been recent jumps in Ethereum and Bitcoin prices that have also increased the validity of this kind of thing.
$2,525 USD.
Over $2,500 US
is the average price of a Bitcoin across all exchanges.
Bitcoin goes for right now.
Wow.
And then I was talking in Taipei a little bit with Wendell about this, and he said Ethereum mining is taking off too. And Ethereum mining has, I don't know. He explained things to me which I intended to absorb and recount to you guys, but now they're gone. The point.
Because jet lag.
Because jet lag.
We'll just blame jet lag for everything today.
Excuse. Anyway, the point is that they're viable means of mining once again. In particular, if you live somewhere where you don't have to pay a lot for electricity, like us here in Southern California. Like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna set up a mining rig. No. Nope. Like, electricity costs much money here. We don't live like conveniently close to a bunch of hydroelectric power, that kind of thing. And even those of us who have solar set up, it's not as much of a viable solution for this type of thing. So you gotta have to have that combination of, like, you gotta be able to have cheap electricity, access to the cards, and then maybe you can mine some of this stuff. I've heard depending on the rig you set up, a modest configuration can net you, $100 a week or something like that. Yeah. But obviously that varies based on a lot of different variables.
I'm just curious. Do you notice, like, your electricity bill is, like, significantly higher too when, like, we're reviewing new AMD or NVIDIA graphics cards?
Oh,
when
yeah.
You're just doing tons of benchmarking.
If I have to, I mean if I combine that with, like,
AC.
when it's summer, because I mean electricity costs more in the summer here when people are more likely to be using it.
True.
Yeah, and like when the 1080s launched last year.
Yeah.
Like right after Computex.
Yep.
I was running a bunch of benchmarks and. Like, it was very expensive.
My grandpa, like, literally, like, came into my room. He's like, "Can you pay the electricity bill this month?"
Yeah.
Because it was just, like, double the price, and he knew it was because of me.
Oops.
Because he, like, basically, like, lives in the dark.
I get regular email or letters from Southern California Edison now, with little graphs that says, "Here's, like, what a like a responsible electricity user uses. Here's the average for your neighborhood. Here's you.
Here's
you.
Yeah, and here's you.
You suck, you
Right.
you asshole.
You just
And
got benchmarked.
But most people probably
Your ass
don't
just got benchmarked.
don't work from home all the time on
Yeah,
computers
true.
to use electricity.
Right.
But yeah, I gotta get some.
What are you, some kind of power user?
I gotta get some solar set up. That would be nice. Honestly, considering that I work at home and what I do, I use relatively not that much.
Yeah.
But it's all relative. Okay. There are some concerns, of course, about these developments with the AMD cards becoming scarce and hard to find. The fear is that the cryptocurrency miners aren't really gamers, and these are gaming graphics cards made for gaming, so long-term, people might say this could potentially hurt AMD's position in the gaming world, especially if you have less adoption of their graphics cards right now when people might be hunting for them. You know, when that is kind of the, I mean, that's really where they're selling them right now is in the with the 580s and the 570s. They don't have much in the higher end, so it does kind of suck that makes it difficult for people who want to actually use them for gaming to find them. Right. Quote from the article, it says, Ethereum has been the main reason for increasing AMD graphics card prices, but Zcash and Libry, LBRY, could do the same to NVIDIA. A GTX 1060 can do about 21 megahashes per second in Ethereum compared to 26 megahashes per second on a 570, but it also uses less power and currently costs less. So, you know, those are the economic decisions that the coin miners are making, which results in you guys not having graphics cards to buy. Yay, Bitcoin mining. All right.
Sweet.
So what might be a solution to this in a conveniently related story that we will now gracefully segue into?
Maybe a graphics line
I'm
that's
glad you asked
tailor-made
that,
for
Kyle.
cryptocurrency mining?
Yes. Here's an article on video cards about that very thing, Kyle.
Wow.
Pardon me. This is videocards.com, so rumor. But the rumor is that AMD NVIDIA might be toying with the idea of actually releasing graphics cards specifically for Bitcoin mining or cryptocurrency mining. There's not a whole lot of information on the article here, but suffice it to say that NVIDIA has potentially a GTX 1060 with the GP106-100 GPU. It would be a custom edition made just for cryptocurrency mining. It would lack display connections, so it would be an add-on card, kind of like what a Tesla would be in the workstation environments. Probably would not support gaming at all. You'd only have a 90-day warranty. It would be cheaper than the models they make for gamers, probably because they don't have to do things like pay licensing the HDMI for the video out. And they would be sold by add-in board partners. So who knows how viable this will be? Again, like as ASICs are developed for the various cryptocurrency variants that are out there, you know, GPU compute options might be less of an option as it is, but hey, anything that I think keeps cards in stock for people who actually want to buy them for games would be a good thing. Yeah. And the article also says that AMD is planning a Polaris-based model kind of in the same vein, but there's no details yet on that.
Be cool if they could lower the TDP on them somehow even further, or just make them more power efficient in general so that it's not quite as expensive. Our good buddy Anthony from Tweaktown just commented in YouTube chat.
Anthony!
So that he turned it on his Bitcoining setup yesterday, 11 GPUs, and it's currently sitting at an estimated average of $900 per month.
Well.
Although I don't know if that's 900 US or Aussie. Are those Aussie bucks that we're talking?
Yeah, and how much does he have to pay for his electricity?
What's 900 Aussie bucks?
Australia. Although, see, he has the advantage. He has the advantage right now because it's winter down there.
I typed in Aussie bucks to USD, and Google still knew exactly what I was talking about. I love you, Google. 900.
One Australian dollar is 75% of a US dollar.
So even at 900 Aussie bucks, he's still paying 675 US.
All right, and that's with an 11 card rig, but we don't know what cards he's using.
No.
Maybe he can write an article on Tweaktown about that.
Yes.
That'd be
ad free.
Ad free.
just for the hell of it.
Well. Anyway,
Let's
hi Anthony.
Hey.
We did you see Anthony?
Yeah, partnered up with him at the Brass Monkey party that they hosted. Where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you, Paul?
I was.
Had to drink your drinks for you.
Why didn't I go to the? No, I was.
Probably because you were being responsible.
I was doing work.
Doing stuff that I should have been doing.
Probably making sure have videos
Getting work
going
done.
up for that.
Yeah.
No, I did see Anthony briefly. Sorry we didn't get to say bye, Anthony, but it was good to see you at Computex.
And he did say it was that's 900 US he's talking, so that's
U.S. dollars.
a pretty penny. A very large penny.
A little bit.
An American
Yeah, and
penny.
again, if you're in Australia, and it's winter, use that to heat your home at the same time. Everybody wins.
Winter is coming.
Okay. Let's move over to the big news.
What?
Or continuation of the big news. So a lot of you guys are probably at least somewhat familiar with this if you've been following either of our channels for the past week or just the tech world in general, because there's been lots of discussion about this. Intel's Skylake X, new series of CPUs, a new high-end desktop platform, X399 chipset, and a stack of 9 CPUs ranging from 4 cores all the way up to 18 cores. So yeah.
Core City.
Not gonna dwell too much on these details because we do have some additional discussion planned on Kyle's half of this show. So I'm gonna try to stick to kind of the facts-based stuff here, but with just a brief bit of commentary.
Sure.
And then we'll continue that on Kyle's half because it's all the rage thing right now to make a video about how
criticizing
outraged
Skylake X and
you are about this.
X299.
Now I'm not gonna toot my own horn or anything and point out that I had one of the original videos about this where I raised some questions. But I mean,
I have a sketch coming up.
Then you get Linus jumping in, everybody else, and eventually, eventually everyone copies me, I guess is what I'm saying. No, actually, I did enjoy Linus's video. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that. It's already almost to 2 million views, and in my mind, Linus is dropping his video about that kind of has it took what was sort of starting to build and kind of just. It really increased the surge.
Catapulted it. Yeah,
the surge of sort of anti what the hell is Intel doing with this launch thing going on right now. But point being, there's a bunch of CPUs. There's 2 Kabylake X CPUs, a 4-core, 4-thread, and a 4-core, 8-thread. Those are at the very bottom of the stack. Those only have 16 PCI Express lanes. They are going to slot into LGA 2066 socket motherboards, just like the much more higher core count ones as well. There's rumors already that those CPUs that are under there for the Kabylake X are really just Kabylake 7700 cores that they've just.
As Linus said, they stapled it to the X.
They
2066
took it off and put it on the 2066 substrate. Having only 16 lanes available for something like an X299 board means that there's going to be a really right now, if you buy an X99 board and you look in you open up the booklet for it, it'll usually have 2 sets of configurations for 28 lane CPU and a 40 lane CPU, which are the 2 options depending if you get the entry level X99 or Broadwell E or the higher end one. Now there's going to be 16 lanes. 28 lanes, 44 lanes, and just a huge amount of things that might be on the board that may or may not work. So motherboard manufacturers in a very confusing situation where they have to either design a board kind of geared more towards the low end with fewer things, but then dropping in a higher end chip doesn't make as much sense in there, or geared towards taking advantage of all the PCIe lanes that are available on a high end desktop platform, but then if you drop in one of those Kabylake X CPUs onto it, you probably have a bunch of stuff that turns off. So there's more stuff about it as well. Again, to continue to discuss. So we'll leave more of that for Kyle's half of the show. But some more spec stuff, at least that can be derived from this Anantech article about it, and something that's sort of been realized by a lot of the press as we've gone to Computex, because there have been Skylake X CPUs that have been going around. There's a bunch of X299 systems that have been on display, but all of those systems have been using only up to the 10-core CPU that's available right now. So it seems like those CPUs are a little bit more ready. It also seems like the really high core count CPUs, they're distinguished by LCC, low core count, and those are the 6 to 12 core variants. And then there's high core count, HCC. Those are the 14 to 18 core variants. But it seems like the first 4, the 6 core, 8 core, 10 core, and 12 core, are what's actually going to be available when this launches in the coming weeks. There is some NDA stuff that we can't discuss about that as well, but in the coming weeks, I think it's fair enough to say. So the i7-7800X is the 6-core, the 7820X is the 8-core, the 7900X is the 10-core, and the i9-7920X is the 12-core. The 7820X is going to be the 8-core, $600 processor. This is what a lot of people are calling probably kind of that sweet spot of getting the most bang for your buck out of it. That's the highest low core count variant with a base clock of 3.6 gigahertz and a 4.3 gigahertz turbo, as well as a 4.5 gigahertz Turbo Boost Max 3.0, which will take the 2 fastest cores on the chip and automatically overclock them. So up to 4.5 gigahertz on 2 cores, and then 4.3 when it's fewer cores. We don't know exactly because these haven't been tested, and that's not laid out in the specs. Gets supports for DDR4 2666 speed memory, which is nice. And the big disappointment for the 8-core is it only has 28 PCIe lanes, which 8-core CPUs back to the 5960X have had 40 at least. So that was a big disappointment, is that Intel decided to really hamstring the amount of peripherals that you can connect up to that 8-core CPU by putting a $400 premium between the $600 8-core and the $1,000 10-core, and the $1,000 10-core is what you got to do in order to get your full complement of 44 PCIe lanes. So Intel continuing to play their game that they've been playing as far as segmentation of the CPUs and making you pay more money for, you know, the most functionality that you want. And we'll have to see how that plays out once the summer continues and we have the launch not just of this platform from Intel, but also AMD's Threadripper platform, which is also theoretically coming. And Threadripper is what a lot of people have assumed is the reason why Intel is even doing 12-core, 14-core, or 16-core, 14, 16, and 18-core, I should say, CPUs on this platform, because it really seems like those weren't part of the plan until AMD came out about a week before Computex and announced it, a week and a half, and then Intel was like, oh, like, our Halo products can no longer be that 12-core CPU because it's going to get outshone by AMD saying, well, we got a 16-core.
And when's the last time Intel announced such a huge CPU stack, and at Computex no less, and really is not going to have it ready until late that same year, or maybe even early next year. Like the fact that we're not going to be seeing the 14 through 18 core CPUs till end of 2017, but Intel has just announced it right now. It seems like, to say the least, premature and very reactive instead of premeditated.
And I certainly found it a bit disingenuous, because they did talk to the press about a week before Computex, and we were provided a decent amount of information. That's what my original video was based on. It was not indicated to us at all that those top 3 CPUs weren't going to be available at the same time as the rest in the stack.
Right.
That's only come out a little bit later this week, as people have gone to Computex and gotten a little bit more information about these things.
It's because Intel doesn't really even know the information about these things. They're making it up as they go.
It seems to be potentially the case.
And I think, and it makes perfect sense when you've been in the lead for 10 plus years, a full decade more or less in the desktop CPU market, and then all of a sudden, the only other challenger in the game steps it up a lot and basically, starts to take like the title. I mean, it's a numbers game type of thing. Like, we see this with every industry or every market, really. Remember, like when monitors came out, like having the highest refresh rate was like a huge thing. Well, we're doing 75. We're doing 100. We're doing 144. We're doing 200 plus or whatever. It just keeps going. And it's the same thing here. It's core count now, and that's why I feel Intel has rushed to this, hyper 12 core launch, is because AMD came out with, they announced Threadripper and stuff, and so obviously it's just it doesn't necessarily mean that more cores is better in every sense of the word, but I think just from a marketing standpoint and the way that the corporations see it is like, we need to be the best. We need to have the highest of everything. We need to be the title holder for something as trivial as core count. I mean, when it comes down to it, the architecture has a lot more to do with it, as we've seen in the past. But I think just from a corporate sort of standpoint, Intel feels threatened, which is good in a way. It's about time that they feel threatened. It's been, like I said, a long ass time before there's been some real competition in the high-end desktop market for CPUs. So you can definitely sense Intel sweating right now, but I think that they're handling it poorly, as opposed to like what Linus was saying in his video, like just make the best thing you can now and sell it for as cheap as you can, and that'll ensure that you're staying afloat against the competition. But it seems like Intel sort of jumped the gun here, and obviously we'll talk a bit more about that on my half of the show. But
indeed we will.
It's a lot to talk about.
Yes, and I think there's. I feel like it's still in the gestation period too. Like the information's just coming out. There's no official reviews, although we'll talk about some leaked performance numbers on Kyle's half as well.
All of them legit. Yeah.
But here's some early stuff that came out of Computex. This is a Guru of 3D article.
It came early.
And this is just referring to some of the discussions that have been going on at Computex with some of the partners that Intel works with, which mainly means motherboard manufacturers. And just a little bit of information that's trickled out. For instance, the article quotes, again, a anonymous vendor is saying that none of the partners currently have their hands on or have even seen the 12-core, 14-core, 16-core, or 18-core parts that Intel's been talking about. So those don't seem to exist. They don't seem to be ready, or at least have any samples going out for validation or testing or anything like that. Mm-hmm. They did do some early overclocking, or they had some early overclocking numbers of stuff like the 7900X. And they're basically saying that they're hitting about 4.2 to 4.3 gigahertz overclocking, which is about the same frequencies that Broadwell E was hitting for the high core count like the 6950X. It depends on the ASIC quality, of course, but the 4.5 gigahertz turbo that you see on the specs, again, is primarily going to be the 2 cores for Turbo Boost Max 3.0. But again, this article reiterates the fact that it doesn't seem like those higher-end core count CPUs are going to be available when this launches. So, yeah, it's
hold your breath.
It's like Intel tacking them on. You can look at as good or bad. Intel tacking them on as a paper launch just to like throw shade out because AMD theoretically has Threadripper coming seems a little bit more like a desperation move, or just something where they're like, oh crap, we have to do something. So yeah, but let's talk about one of the other probably slightly less well-known continuing kind of disappointment things. Well, again, a mixed bag. It's like some cool things, but also some disappointments, which is the RAID configurations that are going to be available on this new platform. And here's an article from PC World by Gordon Ma-Ung.
I have a funny story about Gordon Ma-Ung after you.
Oh, okay.
Fun interaction I had with him.
Excellent.
Computex.
I saw him there too briefly.
Yeah.
All right, so ASUS was showing off this RAID card here, which, what do they call it? The Hyper M.2 by 16 card, which allows you to add 4 M.2 NVMe drives on a single PCIe card, and that allows you to basically shove a bunch of extra M.2 NVMe devices onto your X399 configuration. They said that they could combine up to 20 devices in RAID using a new system called VROC, Virtual RAID on CPU. Now I believe
VROC.
VROC, yeah.
I like saying VROC.
It sounds like a cool name. VROC. It's like Grand Theft Auto.
There you go.
Now, from my understanding, the X399 chipset will allow you to connect up to 3 M.2 NVMe devices that you can control via Intel Rapid Storage technology, which is the pre-boot RAID environment that you can set up by turning RAID on for your controller. And I believe that is separate from this. I think that is still a thing that you can have up to 1, 2, or 3 RAID devices, and that's probably compatible with the different RAID configurations that Rapid Storage technology has already been able to do, which is typically RAID 0, RAID 1, and RAID 5.
Right, this seems like an add-on technology, right?
This is different. This is virtual RAID on CPU, so it's using the CPU to do the heavy lifting for the RAID configuration, but it is bootable, which is something that a software RAID that you might have been able to configure before is not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the cool things. Also, the expandability up to 20 devices altogether is pretty cool too. And again, they had this demoed right there with that ASUS RAID card, and they had they had 8 devices. They were using 8 Intel 600p SSDs, which are okay. They're decent.
Why would they use Intel
NVMe SSDs,
Paul?
They
why,
use
why
Intel.
Why would they use much faster competitor drives like the Samsung 960 Pros, for example?
That's a good.
It just makes much more sense if you were trying to boast impressive numbers.
It's a great question, Kyle.
I'm so confused right now about this demo. Why don't you maybe shed some light about that, Paul?
Because this otherwise pretty cool RAID solution from Intel is restricted by several things. One is that it only works with Intel NVMe SSDs.
Oh.
Which is pretty lame.
Yeah.
Pretty lame.
High-end feature
that's
for
why
some
they
hard
use,
drives.
yeah, it's why they're using 600p SSDs here. There are obviously much faster SSDs available. To say nothing of the Intel 750, but a Samsung 960 Pro, like you've already mentioned. So that sucks. The configuration that they had running here was hitting about 12 gigabytes per second reads, at least. I think it was doing more like 4 to 5 gigabytes per second writes. Intel says, in theory, with 20 devices, it can hit 128 gigabytes per second, which is pretty nuts. But again, these stupid catches that they put in there requires Intel drives to use RAID. It only works with Skylake X, so will not work with Kabylake X, and it only works with RAID 0 out of the box. Here are their numbers.
This is the best.
Here are their results if you want to take a look. Iometer as well as crystal disk mark. So, again, about 4.5 gigabytes per second on the writes. And this stupid freaking thing right here.
Someone said this is they've gone the way of Apple. It's so true.
Yeah, so
so true.
This
in
is
both chats said the same thing at the same time.
This is your dongle. I put USB. I actually don't think it's a USB.
Dongle?
Yeah, it's a. But
what is this? Early 2000s?
It plugs onto the board. You have to buy it separately in order to enable higher end RAID functions. So again, RAID 0 you get out of the box. Rumored that it will be $99 for the dongle that you plug in that will enable RAID 1, and $299 for the one that will enable RAID 5. Now, the reason why Intel is doing this, and this is my opinion, but I'm pretty confident in this.
We know
is
why.
Because this platform, high-end desktop, is starting to overlap with a lot of the capabilities of their server-side stuff.
Yeah.
And server-side stuff is very expensive, and they like it to be very expensive because large companies buy it and they can make very good profit margins that way. They're worried that allowing the X399, the new high-end desktop platform, to do this stuff just out of the box without some added cost will make savvy IT people who want to save a small business some money be like, oh, well, we don't need to go with that dual Xeon platform. I can just get you this on X299, set up some RAID. You'll basically have all the functionality with that you'd have with Xeon for less money.
Of course.
And that's less money.
They don't want to compete with themselves, sure. But
So
I think just from like a marketing standpoint and maybe like an ethical standpoint, wouldn't it have been better and like given Intel less heat or attracted less negative attention had they just disabled that altogether? Like had they not even offered the paid dongle? Like because having like RAID keys and stuff, I mean, I just feel like that's an immediate cash grab type of thing. It's like Intel should have just left it out entirely instead of, because the fact that they've turned it into a dongle means that they could have easily just built it into the board, but they have created a separate piece of hardware for it just to get more money and to not compete with themselves, obviously. But I just feel like it's attracted more negative attention than it is going to actually profit them.
And I mean the physical bit of hardware is a lot more difficult to spoof. If it was purely a software solution and they were trying to protect this and
of course,
block it out, having the hardware requirement, it's the same reason why like really expensive $5,000, $10,000 software suites have a hardware key that is required to be plugged in. But I mean, beyond that, it's really it's the same reason why consumers are going to be upset that the 8-core Intel CPU only has 28 PCIe lanes. It feels like a step back and something that's been taken away that was there before. It's been pretty standard right now for Intel's SATA controllers, at least the one that's part of their chipset, that can control usually the 6 devices to have RAID 0, 1, and 5 support. And it's going to be very, very... It's going to make a lot of sense for a lot of people who wants to actually invest in getting 4 or more NVMe SSDs, that they are going to want something like RAID 5. And it sucks to have to spend $300 on that on a platform where before it's felt like that thing has come along for free.
True.
Now again, I feel like there is some potential counter to this. I mean, if you do want to stick up for Intel to some degree, because like I said, the information they told us about X399 says that you can have up to 3 NVMe devices connected with Intel Rapid Storage technology, and that, if it works the same way as it does before, can create a bootable RAID array. It is hardware controlled. It is pre-OS. So that could be a viable alternative for this, and Intel could be saying, well, look, this is a configuration that is higher end. Most people aren't going to be doing more than 3 M.2 NVMe SSDs, and you can do the stuff you could before with that. So, again, since some of this stuff is still pretty early, and since the embargo hasn't lifted for full reviews on any of this hardware or anything, a lot of that still remains to be seen. But, again, just one of those things, some decisions that Intel has made with this launch and with this platform that seems a little bit, I don't know, could be better in a lot of ways.
Right.
So yeah, again, we'll continue to discuss this on Kyle's half of the show. Let's move on to a couple other things. This was a random thing that I saw EVGA post, and it came up because Kyle and I have been involved in Scrapyard Wars, and if you guys have been watching that on Linus Tech Tips channel, it's episode 3 of 4 has now been launched, and Float Plane Club viewers have now seen the final one.
That's funny you mentioned. I was literally just responding to someone who was talking about Scrapyard Wars after EVGA was... after the story that you're about to announce?
Which I immediately saw in the comments for this. So I think this might be over, because I think it's already done. Or
See,
it's on auto notify.
Oh, this is this morning.
This was this morning. So this morning EVGA wanted to clear out some 980 Ti's, and I was going to share that with you guys and say, hey, 980 Ti for $200. That's a pretty good deal. But they apparently have all sold out. These are just on auto notify.
Not surprised.
Limit 4 per household. But yeah, these were just the reference design 980 Ti's. Who knows if more of them will come back in stock.
Are we allowed to say how much we got ours for on Scrapyard Wars since the episode's already out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I was going to say, if we wanted to talk about Scrapyard Wars, which if you guys... we're going to do Q&A shortly here. Feel free to ask us. We'll talk about stuff going up to episode 3.
Yep.
Again, episode 4, so the final one is out, so a lot of people have seen that on Float Plane, and I've did you watch episode 4?
I haven't seen it yet.
I did watch episode 4 already, so we'll try to separate and not do spoilers from episode 4 while still discussing stuff up to episode 3. I guess is what we're saying. But yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. There's a couple more quick, actually just one last news story here, and this kind of goes in line with the Computex stuff as well. ASUS X399. So this is, I think, the other big exciting news from Computex, which is Threadripper is a thing, and it is a thing in so much that not just it's been talked about, but there is actually at least one motherboard based on it that's been shown off, and this is the ASUS one. I believe Kyle and I both talked about this in our videos covering Computex, so you might already be somewhat familiar with it. But Threadripper, the motherboards that Threadripper is going to socket into are pretty massive, beastly boards. It's really cool to see something like this from AMD, because Intel's been ruling the high-end desktop space for a really long time. But huge old socket. Look at the
it's basically 2 dies just mashed on one chip or one CPU, really.
Basically it's like a split socket. They're 4094 pins, so it's LGA 4094, which is 3 times the number of pins that Ryzen has with 1331, I believe.
4K. It's a 4K chip.
Yeah, the socket itself, I don't know if this is an early version and they're going to modify this at all for user friendliness, but it looks like the socket actually mounts with 3 hex screws.
Yeah, that's weird.
Which is different. I mean, that's fine with me. I don't mind screwing in the socket.
I feel like you rarely ever change the CPU
there's also
in a
this
motherboard.
open 321 code on here, which I don't. It's
open 321.
Yeah, see.
Oh, it's just the order, right?
Open
it's just the order of what you
I see
unlatch.
1.
And it says close 1, 2, 3.
Close 1. All right, so 1, and then probably these are 2 and 3. I have to guess.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so that's fun.
Order matters.
It does. Beyond that, it's a high-end AMD board from ASUS. So there's a new name for it, Zenith. ASUS. So ASUS, I like with their ROG lineup at least, has a very clear naming pattern for all their boards. So like Rampage is their lineup for high-end desktop Intel. Mm-hmm. So Rampage, it's a Rampage and then a number for the series, and then they have Formula, Extreme, Impact, and sometimes Gene.
Right.
So Formula is pretty high end. Extreme's usually the highest end. Oh, they have Hero now as well that can slot in there. Impact is
budget.
Mini ITX, and Gene is Micro ATX. So that's Rampage for high end Intel high end desktop, and then there's Maximus, which is Intel mainstream.
Right.
Then there's Crosshair, which is AMD mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And now there is Zenith, which is AMD high-end. So that's a brand new thing. So this is Zenith Extreme. I guess it would be Z1E, since it's the first line of Zenith stuff from ASUS.
New beginnings. Origin stories.
And yeah. So
cool.
Other than that, I mean, like, just, look at all the stuff on here,
It's a board.
You can plug stuff in.
PCB.
Plugs down here. You got a U.2.
Look at that SATA ports.
Got some M.2s on there too. They do have I pressed the wrong button. they do have the USB 3.1 Gen 2. That's also connecting up there. Oh, and the DIMM.2 slot, which is the thing they've done on their Extreme boards, which is basically a DIMM slot that they have rewired and plugged in with a DIMM riser card that has an M.2 slot in it. Yeah. Which is kind of fun.
I think you can put 2 M.2s on it, right?
What's
happening?
I don't know.
Are people seeing this right now?
No, I have no idea.
Lord.
I'm terrible.
Paul can't hit the right keys in this episode.
And now this week's sponsor.
They're labeled, Paul. All the keys are labeled.
This week's sponsor is not Gigabyte. All right. Anyway, the biggest news that AMD announced, other than this is continuing to be a thing, is that it's launching in summer. So by the end of summer, I guess, late August. And then it has 64 PCIe lanes. So 64 is more than 44.
True.
And that's cool. Who knows how they'll be configured? We don't know which of those 64 PCIe lanes will be available for what things, whether it's PCIe expansion slots through the chipset, peripheral connectivity over there, or whatnot. But it is cool that there's many of them, because that's definitely going to be something AMD can say, again, to put the screws to Intel's like, oh, your 8-core only has 28 PCIe lanes?
Yep.
Our 6-core has 64 or something like that, or who knows?
Sure.
I mean, maybe not 6-core. They're probably
sure.
If they're starting with 16, I don't know. There's a bunch of speculation left in there.
Yeah.
All right, let's answer some questions. If anyone has asked
questions. I'm assuming they're all going to be about Scrapyard Wars, which I'm totally okay with.
All right, Jordan Keller, thank you for the $2 donation. He says you guys are late.
Oh,
we were technically on time for Twitch. But for YouTube, slightly late. So
must be a YouTube watcher.
I'm sorry about that.
All right. You've clearly never seen the show before. Automatic Met for the $5. Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry I missed the last show. I had the wrong time. Also, any gaming speakers at Computex? I did not check out a single gaming speaker.
I didn't know. Is that a thing?
I mean, Razer has like a gaming speaker.
They do?
Right? They've got the bar. It's just like a single bar.
Oh, like a surround bar?
I think that's maybe like a, just like for your desktop maybe? I don't know. I feel like I haven't really seen many gaming speakers in general lately.
Just get a Klipsch, a 2.1 setup.
Just get some headphones.
Or a nice headset.
Daniel Druzak for the $2.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, E3 soon.
E3.
I mean, that might be a question.
Not going to E3.
I'm not going either.
I don't know what that is.
I'm not going either.
E3 is very close to us, but it's also...
It's too much.
Is it next week?
Games and not enough hardware. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Webb, $2. How do I use the 2-pin thermal sensors on my motherboard? You just plug them into the pins on the motherboard where they go, and you stick them where any hotspots that you want to monitor.
Yeah.
Really, anywhere in your case that you want to put, you just use a little bit of tape or.
Typically, your
zip tie it.
your motherboard will come with a little thermistor.
Yeah.
It's just a little dude on the end, a little thermal probe. And that just leads over. So you plug that in, and then you just put that probe wherever you want it.
Anywhere you want it.
Need some tape.
Literally anywhere.
Yeah, just tape it down, and then.
Anywhere.
Talking about something like an ASUS TUF series board or something like that, then usually go in and load up the software for that, and that will allow you to get the readings for that thermal probe.
Hell yeah.
Anthony from Tweaktown. He says, love you guys. He's thrashing Ethereum right now with 11 GPUs and 4 PCs. See, he didn't even know.
Nice.
He didn't even have to give us that donation, but he did anyway. Because he loves us so much.
Come on. Because he knows we're making that YouTube money, which is...
Apparently, yes, exactly.
You poor guys on YouTube.
Here you go. Thank you, Anthony.
Bad Australian accent.
Nate Penny with $5 donation. He said, welcome back, guys. What was each of your favorite moments of Computex 2017? Favorite moment?
Moment? We're talking about our favorite tech in my half, but moment. Some of those dinners we had are pretty epic.
Yeah, I had... so it was also my my 5th anniversary with my wife, and she came out for the second towards the end of the week, and we got to hang out for a while and have a short vacation there at the end, and we went and had this dinner, and I had pate.
Oh,
it was actually duck pate.
This is the second time you had it at that place, right?
Yeah, the first time I had it was our 1 year anniversary there, and it was just really, really good. And they haven't had that exact same dish, but I had that again, and it was really good.
Nice.
And of course I was there with my wife, which was lovely as well. So that was probably my favorite moment.
Nice. It's beautiful, Paul.
Yeah.
Mine was the chicken story, which I told you exhaustively about.
The chicken story.
Yeah, me and my editor Chris, we were obviously just ordering food at a restaurant. The menu was not in English, or was very loosely translated, and turned out we both ordered a whole chicken a piece, and the server brought out each of us a whole chicken, put it down on the table, and immediately all the locals in the restaurant just started laugh out loud, lol, straight lol in the restaurant, and we both turned beet red and basically facepalm the whole rest of the way. Even the servers were laughing and shit. It was awful.
That's awesome.
And also the most memorable moment of the trip, probably. But
wow,
Computex
that was pretty classic.
Yeah,
we saw that one.
Yeah.
All right,
Computex
thanks, Nate. Colton Spears, $5 donation. RX 480s are getting bids on eBay over $450. So gosh, even if you got a 400 series, which I mean is still Polaris.
That's nuts.
So yeah, great time to get good resale value on your GPU, I guess.
Serious.
But that's crazy how much they're going for right now.
Right.
Ryan Baker, $5 donation. I make $20 a week mining Ethereum on a GTX 1060. It's good money. All right. So if you already got the GPU, and again, if you're somewhere where electricity doesn't cost that much, or I guess if your parents are paying. No, don't do that. I don't want anyone mining on their parents' electrical bill, because they'll find out. They'll be mad at you.
And then they'll blame us for talking about
find it out. It was our fault somehow. Kelvin Klein, $5. Thank you so much. Paid Linus to watch Scrapyard Wars. Here's your cut. Best quote is, "I can feel the bus bearing down on me. I should get out of the way."
What?
That's from the last episode.
Oh, okay. I haven't.
I watched that part. You're right. You're right. It's a good thing.
Did Linus say that?
No, I said that.
Oh, you said that.
It's alright. We can't get into that.
Bus.
Kelvin, thank you for your donation. Anthony donated another $5 and didn't say anything. Anthony, thank you so much. Thanks. So glad.
Thanks, bro.
We're getting that tweak down, trickle down.
We love you. Getting that Tweaktown money now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Pat Bowles, $10 donation. Hey guys, I like both your show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Pat. We certainly shall. Fred Rants, $20 donation. Love your show. It's like Sheldon Cooper meets Laurel and Hardy.
What?
All right.
I don't get that reference.
Well, Sheldon Cooper is from
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
Who's Laurel and Hardy?
Laurel and Hardy is they're like an old duo of old gangsters, criminals.
Sweet.
Right?
That's a good
I'm
mashup.
Sure I have that right.
If that's the case.
Mr. Mom, $20 donation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good luck on your sex change.
I don't want to impose gender rules. Bobby Jr., $10 donation. The PCI Express lanes are a disappointment on the new Intels. How many PCI Express lanes are available on the X399 motherboards, and does it make up for the lack of lanes on the CPU? Well, Bobby, just to clarify here, the PCI Express lanes are strictly on the CPU. The PCIe controller is part of the CPU. Right. So depending on the CPU you get, you might have 16, 28, or 44. Those are then connected via traces to other places on the motherboard. So all your PCI Express expansion slots, your chipset over on the side, possibly directly over to M.2 or U.2 expansion slots for SSDs. So if you dropped in a 16-lane chip into the board, you only have 16 lanes available, and it's up to the motherboard manufacturer where to direct those. So you might have full connectivity for everything with a 44-lane 44 PCI Express lane CPU. Drop in a Kabylake X, and suddenly it's like only your top PCIe slot will work at by 8.
Right.
That's 8 that's available, and then maybe 2 M.2 slots that are on there. 4 and 4. That's 16.
Yeah.
That's what you got. Everything else just won't work.
Right.
So that's kind of how that works.
Thank
you for the donation, though. Stark Harley, $5 donation. Sorry I can't watch the stream. Working at the brewery tonight. Hopefully I'll be sending beer soon, but for now, here's something towards the beer fund.
Oh,
thank you very much,
boo!
Stark.
You have to work at a brewery. I feel so bad for you.
It must be challenging.
Jeez.
All the time.
Probably
but hey,
drink after
anyone who's might be sending us beer, hey.
Hell
cheers.
yeah. Thanks, Stark. Davey Chow. I always have to say your name like that.
Davey.
Sorry, Davey. I have a 4770K, thinking of upgrading, not because I need to, but more because I want to. I do play with some 4K editing. Yay or nay?
If it is within the budget, then go for it.
Yeah.
It's something you enjoy. It's something you're going to use a lot. It's something you're gonna feel happy that you've taken the time to invest in, and you'll see something out of your work. That's what building computers is all about. I think you should go for it.
What if we just straight up recommended X299 after we just
criticized
it heavily?
Totally the 79.
Definitely go for the 7900X.
7980X. What is it? I still haven't memorized all those top end ones.
It's confusing.
What the hell they're called?
David. Get some note cards.
David Ouellette.
$4. Love the channel. We love you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Alex D. He's got the
Alex.
D and the $10 D Nation. Love the show and both of your channels. No question. Just wanted to say thanks for being so awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Appreciate it.
We love you.
Aaron Williams, $6.66.
Hey.
So metal. Keep up the great work. You too, sir. You
Rock
too.
on.
Anthony again. Jeez, Anthony.
Wow.
You know what's funny is that we always give him a hard time, like Tweaktown a hard time for all the ads, but that's the money we're getting ad revenue right now from that site.
Who cares now?
So awesome, I'm all for him.
It's beautiful.
Bring on the ads, man. Thanks, Anthony.
That or it's just a tip he said he was going to give me Computex.
Woohoo.
Did. PlanetVampire.com, $5 donation. Thank you. With consoles with varying hardware, several APIs, multi-GPU, new CPU architectures, and focus on CPU core count, predictions on how game devs handle.
Very carefully.
Yeah. So I can't give a very direct answer to that, but I will say that AMD's hardware has been in the consoles for quite some time, and AMD has been working on standardizing more what is known as the phrase is used as close to the metal APIs when it comes to video game developments, and that's what like DirectX 12 and Vulkan do. So the standardization of that theoretically will help to ease the transition of work between developing games for consoles as well as the PC.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I feel like a lot of games that come out these days are initially developed for console, because that's where a lot of the lion's share is.
There's a lot of talk about
Not
that transitioning some over the past
PC,
year or two,
right,
because PC has been gaining so much.
Right. But I just mean, like, in sort of, like, recent years, that's why you have, like, a PC port. Like, the PC port follows sort of the initial console version. And so I feel like it's up to the, for PC developers, I feel like they really have it more difficult. I feel like it's sort of standardized or, like, the console developers get to set the stage, sort of. And then the PC port has to sort of follow that. And I feel like there are more expectations and requirements for PC gamers and for PC developers to sort of make the experience a bit more flexible and open than a traditional console experience. So, I don't know. Does that make any sense? Or
Kinda.
I mean, kinda maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's the burden is more heavily put onto the PC, the PC ports and PC game developers.
Well, I think
if they're emulating initial console game, a game that was initially
I think the standard, I think you're right that consoles were dominant for quite some time, but like I said, PC gaming has gained so much on the console market in the past few years that. And because of the standardization of a lot of the hardware and the APIs that are being used in development, it's becoming more common either that the games are developed for all platforms from the get-go, or that they're simply developed on the platform that's already using hardware that's so similar to the PC that porting it to PC is more easy. But I think right now we're seeing more of like you want to hit everything. The PC is as much of a viable gaming platform as Xbox or as PlayStation. So if there's a AAA game that's in development, unless it's one of those exclusive titles that's like one of those, you got to get this platform to play that game, it's becoming, I'm seeing more of it's like it releases everywhere because they want to hit as much of the market as they can.
Well, yeah.
So, okay, but Planet Vampire, thank you for that question. Dylan O'Neill, thank you for your $5 donation. Love you guys. I'm deleting my 6700K and would like both of your blessings. That would be all square.
Bless you, my child.
The square is an icon, an emoticon that we can't see.
May your deleting be fruitful and prosperous.
Yes, Dylan, please be very careful. I've recently seen... actually, I just got a Der Bauer deleting kit.
Oh, you did? Are you going to delete that shit?
Yeah, he gave me one.
Nice.
It's for LGA 1150, 1151, so that's a specific type. Just remember what you're doing. You're basically taking a seal between the heat spreader and the substrate on the PCB, or the PCB that the CPU sits in, and you're attempting to shift that cap enough to break that seal, but not enough that you're lifting off that might crack the die, or that you're pushing sideways too quickly that might slide to the side and perhaps scrape off the tops of some surface mount devices that might be on there. So be careful, do lots of research beforehand, but a lot of people say that they get some pretty nice temperatures once they do that, because that's certainly something that Intel has not been using the best possible material they can with, is the solder, or the not solder, just the TIM that they use between the heat spreader and the CPU itself.
Yeah.
Good luck, Dylan. JK Software, $20 donation. Thanks to both of you for your coverage of Computex. AMD is back from the dead. Best CPU lineup in 15 years. JK, I absolutely agree. 15 years... Not 15 years. 11 years. 11 to 12 years.
FX processors?
Because FX Series, that's when the FX Series came out. But thank you so much for your donation. Larry Catman91356, $10 donation. You guys rock. What is the beer? What is the beer, Cal?
It's I don't know what the name is. I think it was in the letter that I had, but I don't know if I had the letter anymore. From you know who.
Maybe
you know who you are.
Maybe you can pour me some more.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's about time you actually killed it. Jesus.
Hey, I'm jet lagged.
Freaking rookie.
Anthony G again with another $5 donation. Is Anthony always? Maybe Anthony's not usually up
Anthony.
while we do the show. Awesome hardware down under. Do it. What does that mean?
Down under. It means he wants
Australia?
us to go to Australia.
I wouldn't mind visiting Australia.
Hey, you know what? Why don't we, Paul? What about, let's say me and you. I know we don't usually go to these events, but what if we went to PAX South?
PAX Australia, you mean?
PAX Australia. And
I mean, I'd totally be down for that.
And just to really chill out in Australia, maybe shoot a few cool videos at the event.
I've heard Australia is a really cool place to
We'll
visit.
do like an epic, collab vlog, and try not to get eaten by spiders.
Catch some wolf spiders, right?
Giant spiders. I feel like it's funny we both said spiders.
That's immediately where the mind goes.
That
Thank you,
sounds fun,
Anthony.
though. Thanks, man.
We'll have to figure out when that event is.
Mm-hmm.
Ortrin, $2 donation. Kyle needs glasses in the logo too. Kyle, wear your glasses.
I guess I need glasses.
He wasn't wearing glasses as frequently when the logo was first made.
I know.
UA Cole, $5 donation. So I'm trying to wrap my mind around the PCIe lanes with my Z270 board and my 7700K. Can I run SLI and two M.2 SSDs?
Yes.
UA Cole, no, you cannot.
No,
Well,
you can't?
it depends on the board and it depends on the breakdown of lanes. Alright, so for SLI, you need two...
8 by
No,
8.
you can't. You can't. For SLI, you need 2x8 connections. That's
Right.
NVIDIA's requirement. So you're using up all 16 of your PCIe lanes from your 7700K
it only has
right there.
16, that's right.
Yeah. So the rest of the lanes that are
20.
part of that... Does it have 20?
I'm
20.
thinking of Ryzen. Ryzen has 20.
Ryzen has 24.
20. Well, it has
It's
20
77K.
PCIe Gen 3 lanes, and then 4. And then the 2.0 lanes are dependent on the chipset.
Yeah.
So you get 8 with
Okay.
X370.
With 7700K, you also have 4 PCIe Gen 3 lanes, which are dedicated to the DMI, which is the Direct Media Interface, whatever it is. That's the connection between the CPU and the chipset. Those are broken out via basically a glorified switch to connect up all of your other peripheral connectivity. So you might have some M.2s down there. Those can potentially connect through the chipset to the CPU in tandem with your 2x8 PCIe lane connections for your SLI configuration with your GPUs. So that's the way that you'd be able to do that. But remember, you're using 4 PCIe Gen 3 lanes with a switch right there. So you might introduce a tiny bit of latency. You're not always going to get the exact full speed of the SSDs that way. But again, that depends on the motherboard, and it depends on what they've done with those lanes, those lanes going through to the chipset, and what they connect to. Sometimes they'll connect to like extra PCIe slots on the motherboard. Sometimes it'll be to M.2 slots. Sometimes it'll be to U.2 slots. So yeah, if you got those coming off your chipset though, then yes, you should be able to connect that. I hope that makes sense.
Lucky Dog, $5. Think of any new Intel CPUs will beat the 7700K in terms of gaming streaming chip?
Yeah.
Streaming, yes.
Yeah.
Gaming, maybe the 6-core. I mean, obviously you get higher clock speeds. I don't know what the IPC is.
So one of the theories for the Kabylake X CPUs is that they're mainly focused on overclocking, and that they're not even like practical chips for people who want to use them in just like I want to make a quad core computer. Don't get X299. Get Z270.
Right.
Build something on that. X299 with the quad cores might just be something that they're building out so that people can break overclocking records on. And I believe there's a little bit on your half, isn't there?
Or maybe
world
not. Record? No.
Okay, maybe it was just something that I read earlier today, though. I read earlier today a leak about a Kabylake X chip hitting 5 gigahertz on air, or something like that. I'm jet lagged. Okay.
But yeah, they're supposed to be better for Kabylake X is supposed to be better for overclocking. I believe it's also clocked 100 megahertz higher than existing Kabylake chips, and it's going to have a higher TDP as well. So you might need a better cooling solution. But
so yes, there will be better CPUs in particular for gaming and streaming. Honestly,
it'll be worth it.
Any CPU that's a 6-core or higher should be better at gaming and streaming at the same time, thanks to the additional cores that are available for encoding on the fly.
Definitely.
But yeah, again, lots still remains to be seen for individual reviews and benchmarks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Cthulhu Mons, $1 donation.
Oh my God, we still have so many to go through.
Where is this all coming to? All right, we gotta burn through these quick.
We have a ton.
Thank you, Cthulhu Mons. James Duncan, $2 donation. Think Samsung will branch out to other PC parts. They already do a lot. I don't see them expanding much beyond what they're already doing.
They're definitely going to do CPU cores.
Oh, cool. Mist X Tube, $2 Canadian. Any news about the 4K 144 hertz displays?
No. I went to the Acer Predator area at Computex, and they were just like, hey, look, we still have the X27. It's awesome. But there was nothing new about it. Everything that was announced at the Acer press event is what we know now.
Best one I saw was the new ASUS 35-inch 3440 by 1440 HDR 200 hertz.
That was pretty sweet.
G-Sync display. Who knows? God knows how much that's going to cost. Probably way too much. Project Phoenix Media, $2 donation. Jay's too sexy.
Obviously.
Should have put that upside down. Shane W, a $150 donation. My God, Shane W. Says,
what's A? 150A.
It's 150 A's. I don't know. That's probably,
a lot of A's.
Probably
though.
means it's A.
It's probably worth way more
A-okay.
than US.
It's A-okay with me.
A-okay by us. Yeah.
Thank you, Shane, for your donation. Fred Rant, $5 donation. Laura and Hard were a comedy team way back in the day. Laurel and Hardy. I was totally wrong about that.
You said they were gangsters.
But they.
Did they play gangsters?
Yeah. Laurel and Hardy. No, I'm
Choose
stupid.
your next
I'm
words
just stupid.
carefully, Paul.
I'm gonna blame that.
What do you have to say for yourself? Jet lag.
Jet lag. Okay, Tito Diaz.
Ding.
Tito Diaz. Yeah, I'm a moron. Tito Diaz, $10 donation. Thank you for that. Joseph Parrish, $1 donation. Thank you very much for that as well. Jason Partridge,
in a pear tree.
$20 donation. You're both awesome. Haven't been to the hardware game in about 10 years. You guys are a great refresher. Thank you so much. I hope the things that we've told you are correct. Tito Diaz, another $10 donation. Sell my 980 Ti and buy a 1080 Ti or wait for Vega. I have a 6700K. I'd wait. I'd wait right now because the 980 Ti is still totally a good card and a great pair for a 6700K.
Yeah.
Adam Yeager, $10 donation. You guys were awesome in Scrapyard Wars. Would you have called out Intel for the i9BS had Linus not made that video?
Of course.
I feel like most of the community are following his lead on the issue. Adam, I'd like to sincerely say that I would call it out either way, because we have been talking about how little sense the Kabylake X CPUs make since they were rumors weeks and weeks ago.
Yeah.
And although I was not as, like, I'm going to walk around like an emo person outside in Taipei and be super upset about this in my video.
With dramatic music in the background.
I did, a good week before Linus's video, raise several questions about the validity of some of the CPUs that they're bringing out, as well as just some of the very difficult to deal with configurations when it comes to the PCIe Express stuff.
Maybe you should be asking Linus if he would have made that video had Paul not made his video first.
Maybe it was based on my video.
Interesting.
No, probably not. But I mean, I think it's helpful to have lots of different voices in the tech world talk about these kinds of things, and yeah. Okay, Miguel Aguado, $2.99. Thank you very much, Miguel. Alan Hernandez, $5 donation. Love you guys and your awesome content. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Alan. X-Ray Gaming, $5. Chug, chug, chug.
All right.
Cheers.
Why'd we do that? Now people know they can just donate and make us chug.
We'll save it for your half. Joseph Parrish, $5 donation.
Next half.
Could cross-firing my 4GB 480 with my 8GB 580 cause micro-studying with the 8GB downscaling NVRAM? From my understanding, no, but you will only use 4 gigs of your VRAM, so
yeah.
I don't know. You'll probably have some games where that would help, and some games where it would not help.
Or even hurt.
Yeah. Greg Tufts, $5 donation. I'm going in a custom loop. I want to get a 1080 Ti. Do I get a reference card or wait for the Kingpin? If you want a guaranteed better overclocker, maybe go for the Kingpin, but most GPUs are going to still overclock the same amount regardless of everything else that the manufacturer throws at the boards. It's just how it works with the 10 series.
Plus, you'll be paying significantly more for the Kingpin model.
Yes,
guaranteed.
So if you want the best bang for your buck, just get a reference.
Yep.
Anthony, again.
Good Lord!
$10 donation. We need to talk about PAX Australia. I'll support you in any way.
Jesus!
All right, thank you, Anthony.
Yes!
Stop donating.
We'll be in touch.
You've donated enough. Okay, Miss Next
Take all your money.
$2 Canadian. Toonie for making use of YouTube Live. Well, Toonie,
we're just doing
welcome.
our due diligence.
Chase, $2. Predictions on Ryzen 3's effect on budget gaming.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. More options.
Yep.
Wifey Unji, $5 donation. No question. Just want to say thank you for giving my hubby something he enjoys each week. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Only vaguely suggested.
You only do it for him.
Thank you for the donation, though. Pesky Penguin, $2 donation. Can you speak on ransomware and protection versus builds?
What's that mean?
If you want to protect yourself from ransomware, set up a NAS with ZFS, which does incremental backups, which are read only, which means that even if you get ransomware, you have read-only backups that can only be read, which means they can never be locked up and re-encrypted or something like that.
Read-only, yeah.
That's honestly one of the best, just not that complicated at-home solutions you can do for protecting yourself. Or just be sensible when you're browsing the internet and don't open attachments from people who don't know and all that kind of stuff. Lucky Dog 24, $10 donation. Thank you. Any reason the 6-core has a lower clock speed than the 8-core seems weird. Probably segmentation.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that as you spend more money, you get a better experience and you get a faster processor.
Marketing.
And they usually do that with the out of the box speeds, but they're all overclockable this time, thank God. So yeah. I mean, I guess they've all been overclockable on the hand desktop before. So, but yeah, they're not doing that. Like, and here's the entry level
that would suck.
enthusiast platform one that you can't overclock. That would like, I could see them doing that, but they didn't. All right, Lucky Dog 24, $5. Congrats, Paul, on beating everyone in the liquid nitrogen overclocking challenge. To clarify, I beat all the YouTubers. I read several articles by other people from other like written establishments who they actually got higher than that. They did pretty well with that chip though. They were getting well over 7 gigahertz with it, which is cool. Monkey Face 920, $5 donation. I learned a lot about tech from you guys' channels and recently installed automotive RAM in my car. I'm now running 2 engines in SLI.
Automotive RAM. That's
Awesome.
what we're here for.
Well, you can download more of that if you want. Polytech
Obviously.
Computer Mind, $5 donation. Hey guys, new builder here, always looking for feedback. Love your content. Well, the feedback is that thank you. Thank you for your donation.
Thanks,
My
bro.
feedback. David Garcia, $5 donation. I have an SLI 1070, i7 6700K, ASUS Z170A build, and Kyle is blocking the text with his...
That's right.
And when I render in Sony Vegas 13, it won't detect neither of my GPUs at all. Tried every setting. I don't use Vegas very much, but I would consider disabling SLI. I know, depending on the software, it may or may not be able to take advantage of your GPU's GPU computability while SLI is turned on. But again, I don't use Vegas very much, so I'm probably not a very good resource for that. Joshua H, $10 donation. Thank you so much. Hey guys, love your content. I have a 4790K with a Kraken X52 and push-pull OC to 4.7 gigahertz at 1.25 volts. Want to push more? Research is giving mixed answers. What is a safe voltage to increase? With the 4790K, you don't want to go too high. Haswell was not very tolerant of much higher voltage.
1.35?
So you could probably go to 1325 is probably the most I would want to run if you're talking long term.
Yeah, 24/7 use, yeah.
But honestly, you're at 4.7 as it is.
No need, man.
You're towards the top end of what that CPU can do. The golden chip 4770Ks could hit 4647. The 4790Ks were a bit better. So, you might be able to push it up 48, 49. You never know.
You're already at the peak where adding more voltage to the equation is going to give you incremental increase in performance, but way more heat, and probably decrease the longevity of your chip if you're running it 24/7. So you've kind of hit like a plateau.
I feel like
you're not gonna.
I feel like 4.7 at 1.25 is a nice solid.
You should be happy with that. That's very solid. Yeah.
All right, Shane W, $50 donation. Drink it all in one go.
Oh my God. $50 there. Oh wait, 50A. What is A?
I don't know.
We don't know if that's like more than 50 US or if it's like 2 pesos.
Krona or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and we'll just check for that period.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
I got most of it.
Yep.
Thank you, Shane.
I was weak on that one.
Abuelo Alex.
I still have half a show to
$5
go.
donation. All right, we're almost to the end.
Okay, we're almost
Building a high-end rig, but still want to save. Only want an SSD for storage. So which would be better, a 1 terabyte Samsung 850 Evo or Pro? I go for the Evo. No, the Pro's faster.
Yeah.
But it also
costs more.
If the price difference is minimal, then go for the Pro because it is faster. But I'd say the Evo is kind of your bang for the buck with the Samsung.
Definitely.
You get most of the performance of the Pro, and it's only some very specific situations where you'll actually even notice a difference between those two.
Evo versus Pro is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, like synchronous versus asynchronous NAND. Is that the main difference there?
I don't want to say yes to that because I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the specs again. I don't keep that in my head. Or at least I try to, but it's gone.
Okay.
But yeah, the Evo is a really good drive for the money. X-Ray Gaming, $5 donation. Drink in one go. We already did that. I'm finished.
Let's do it.
Cheers. Vincent Lamb, $5 Canadian. Hey guys, I'm building a new computer running an i7 6700K. Which motherboard should I use? An ROG Maximus 9 Hero Z270 or an MSI Z270 Gaming M7? Are you buying that?
Are you for
If
real,
you're
bro?
buying that, if you're buying the board, I'd say the Gaming M7 because I feel like that costs... Wait, no, the Hero. The Hero's not too expensive.
Get the Hero.
Yeah, I like the Hero. If
The Hero's probably cheaper.
If the I like the Hero if the pricing is equivalent. Yeah, go for the Hero. Okay, there we go.
I like ASUS BIOS.
Take a V with $2. Have you considered doing a Dan A4 build?
Yes, I have.
Kyle has. Okay. Fred Rant, $50. I wonder if Intel is playing possum and will increase the lanes of high-end i9 to 64. Your thoughts? Fred, I doubt it because typically that's not something that they can just turn on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we only know that there are 64 PCI Express Gen 3 lanes on Threadripper. We again don't know how they're configured, if they're restricted one way or the other. There still remains more to be seen there. So
they could totally change it though.
Yeah.
They could make they could change. They could make the high end. What if they just made the high end, or the HCC, the high core count
save
chips?
for your half.
Okay, fine.
All right.
You're right.
Shane W. $50. It's Australian. $50 Australian.
Come here.
Which is fine. We already know that's 75% of a dollar, which is still plenty. All right, and we'll go to Australia soon. Very soon. CS188 Creations last donation $5. I need a low profile graphics card for my dad's small form factor PC. Would you recommend the GT 1030 as best bang for the buck?
No.
No?
GT 1030? I haven't tested it.
I haven't tested it either, but it's new, it's very inexpensive, and there's passively cooled versions of it. Again, without having tested it myself, I'd say yes, because I think they're only about $60 or $70. And I've heard good things about them.
Oh. Well, in that case, do it.
Okay, we need to end my half. We've already gone way over time. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be continuing Kyle's half of the show.
Two Johnsons.
We have two Johnsons.
Tito.
Oh my god, Johnsons.
Tito, thank you for picking up an overclocking ceramic mug and a Words in a Circle pint glass.
Yay.
And finally, Brian. Brian, thank you very much for picking up a Stay Positive shirt. I'm going to go to the bathroom while you read off yours.
Okay. Christopher also gets a Johnson thumbscrew decal. Thank you so much, Christopher. Brian from Michigan. Johnson for the thumbscrew black t-shirt. Thank you for that. And finally, Brian. Brian gets a double Johnson. Right, Kyle said. I think Kyle said that. All right, Brian from Nevada. Thank you so much for that as well. Thanks to you guys for watching my half of the show. We'll be continuing with Kyle's half very shortly. The link to his half is in my video's description right down there. We'll be still staying live on Twitch. I'm going to end my half, and then soon I will get to sleep. Yes, forever sleep. Peace.